Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to take an in-depth look at managing your contact center in real time. In the process, we're going to cover several subtopics, including dashboards, monitoring, managing callbacks, managing agents and calls in queue, and more. To keep things lively, we've got two of our subject matter experts, Andrew Boone and Owen Bath, walking through this material in real time. And they're interacting not only with the software, but also each other. Between them, they've performed thousands of demos and welcomed hundreds of customers to the Telax family. It's an unscripted interaction, and it'll be lots of fun, but also highly educational. And then real quick, let's just kind of calibrate ourselves to the workspace. The guys will be spending most of their time in the monitoring view. You can find that by, of course, logging into your admin portal here. Then if you look at the left-hand navigation pane, you'll see monitoring right here. Now, if you click monitoring, you'll notice it opens in the same tab, which is fine, but some people like to have both the navigation pane and the monitoring available in separate tabs. So if you wanted to do that, you could do a control click on Windows. I guess it's control click on Mac as well these days. And there you go. You've got them both open now. Or you could do a right click, open a new tab, what have you, whatever you prefer. And now we're kind of oriented to their view. So without further ado, over to you, gentlemen.
All right, thanks a lot, Adam. Andrew and Owen here. We're going to talk to you a little bit today about managing in real time. And we're going to start out by talking you through some of our dashboards and our monitor page. And for those of you that are new, the executive dashboard, the metrics dashboard, and the monitor page are all accessible through your configuration, through your left-hand menu on your admin portal. So for today, let's kick us off with the monitor page. Owen, what do you think of this monitor page?
Thanks, Andrew. So the monitor page, a very powerful tool when you're monitoring your call center operations in real time and predicting events that are going to happen. It's also, I guess, known as a pseudo supervisor console.
Yes.
Within here, you're going to see each of your IVRs broken down, your queues broken down, agents broken down from a cumulative perspective and real-time perspective. The data in here can be a little overwhelming at first, is configurable and filterable in terms of the statistics, the queues, the agents you want to display,
Yes.
and of course the thresholds and whatnot you want folks to adhere to.
All right, so let's take people through this. And I always like to say the first three columns here in this monitor page, and this is just Owen and my demo account. So we're putting some calls in here for you to make it look appropriate. But the first three are really cumulative level data. So everything you see in the daily stats, the daily IVR stats, and the daily queue stats, that's really all of your data from midnight last night, right? 12:01 last night, midnight was it, Owen? Until right now.
Yes, sir.
And
of course, being entirely hosted, there's about a 15-second refresh rate on the data.
Yes, and I think that's set up here. That's correct. Well, I've set mine to 30 because 15 seconds can be irritating, right? But obviously, yeah, the web page has to refresh for the data to refresh, absolutely. So in this particular account, something stands out right away, and it should stand out for almost any supervisor that's looking at this. But look at this silver level. I mean, it's red, and when I hover over it, it says it's below the target service level. So what's going on there?
Well, I mean, clearly it's evident that what we can see from calls received to queue to answered that our service level, we're not adhering to that
at all.
That is a good question. Why is that red particularly? Well, because in that field right there,
this is where it is. This is where that is set. Your acceptable wait time. So in the queue section of your config, you set that acceptable wait time. Now you and I have had a call on hold for 5 minutes and 49 seconds in the support queue. When I go to the support queue, the acceptable wait time is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Now I don't have a forced DQ set up here. So, that's why that condition is red. That's why my service level is dropped. That's why my wait time is elevated. And of course, my own personal agent status has also been elevated to red because it's exceeded that threshold, right, for that particular instance. Neat stuff. So going through the line here, we have 3 received calls, 2 have been queued, 2 have been answered, minimum, maximum, average talk time, if there's any callbacks requested. So there's a callback sitting in our queue. Is that yours?
It is indeed my callback. That's a great function, part of the tool. So being able to monitor that in real time also, not only the service level, which we can see is clearly degraded, but those callbacks, so we can see from left to right, one has been answered, 0 have been answered, or 0, 1 has been requested, 0 answered, 0 missed, and 1 waiting.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, once our agents become available in said queue for callbacks, they'll automatically queue up. So there's a bit of self-maintenance there.
Well,
Nothing too untoward to worry about.
right.
However,
Well, you and I aren't available, obviously, right? You're in
currently
you're
in our
juggling.
call center, no one's available.
No one's available. I'm on break. You're juggling swords, so that's okay. Do not cut yourself. So let's go to the next section. So that's the daily global. The next one is just your overall IVR stats. I see that these are generally the same stats as above, but broken down by IVR, and further down below broken down by individual queue. So same sort of cumulative level data, right? Nothing really earth-shattering in here, but indicative, I should say, of which queues you're falling down. So
Well, that's exactly where I like these the breakdown. So I could not only, I could see it globally, my service level is degraded to 50%. However, with the reason being for that, could it be a particular intake number that's how we're having issues with? Maybe it's a product issue. Let's further investigate, do some live monitoring perhaps. Or to your point right now, is it a particular queue where we're falling down? Is in this instance, support rock solid 100%. Customer service, however, letting us down.
it is, and it's interesting. Well, that's because there's a callback in there and it hasn't been returned yet. So technically, one call's been requested but not technically answered. Interesting though to one of the things I would look at as I'm managing sort of the day to day, just down below the daily queue stats, and I'm going to minimize this. It's really the sort of the next two sections that I find are really how and I'm using air quotes, manage in real time. Because here I can interact with both the calls and the agents that are actually in the queue. So you've got a call on hold, or I've got a call on hold in queue, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
if I click on that particular call, it takes me right into that particular interaction. So there I am sitting in queue for 8 minutes on the support line. And this has got to be one of my favorite features, by the way, as a manager. I can actually take this call out of support and reassign it to somebody in billing or customer service. I can just do that
Right.
manually. Yeah, isn't that cool?
I love it. At the time, whenever I have my supervisor hand, on
Yeah.
the day to day, I mean, I can simply say, "Oh, hey, Andrew's in the queue. I recognize that. Andrew's been waiting for 8 minutes, 38 seconds. Well, heck, I know he's an important caller to my business, so maybe I'm going to bump him up in priority. Maybe I'll
Yes,
lower him down. If having a bad
absolutely.
day, I can go ahead and terminate the call. But ultimately, I want to serve that customer, so maybe I won't do that.
Exactly. Now,
Top tip for you call center managers out there: don't
no,
terminate your calls.
well, unless you really want those stats to go up. But what I like to say here, though, I mean, there are pre-programmable options in our queue treatments to automatically DQ after a certain time or reassign a caller after a certain position in queue. But in an emergency, right? This is incredible stuff to be able
Well,
to
that's
move your
exactly
calls
it to
around.
your point, and that's why we have the callback option, which can be also viewed as well.
Very much so. Well, let's
So if
look
we
at
were to
that.
take a look at the customer service queue, we got a callback waiting right there.
You do. There's 0 calls in queue. There's 2 agents waiting. Well, there were
Two
in a
agents,
queue.
none available.
None available. But if I click on that callback, I can actually see that callback. So you requested this at 10:49 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Your priorities of 5 because that's our default.
Mm-hmm.
I can change that if I want your callback to get hit faster. And it
Mm-hmm.
looks like we've set our callbacks for 10 attempts. We haven't retried once, and it expires after 120 minutes. So after 2 hours, this callback will expire if we don't get in touch with you. That's pretty neat. So
Now, of course, those rules are configurable. You have whatever thresholds you want to adhere to and parameters you guys want to set for your, attempt, retry period, and expiration. Have
yes.
at her.
And you can certainly filter by queue as well in terms of searching and finding those callbacks. Very neat. Okay, so that's how we manage callbacks. What
Now, the
about it?
agents, of course.
Yeah, so let's click on an agent here. So there's only you and I in this queue. Neither one of us are available.
I really like this. So, when you see in some more detailed accounts that there's an example that, the wait time is through the roof, there's 101 calls in the queue, you got 99 callbacks waiting. So I want to see, well, hang on a minute, I'm the manager of the support team. Well, what the heck are the agents doing? So I can go into this granular view via that little hyperlink button and see, well, okay, Andrew right now is on break and he has been for 10 minutes and 59 seconds. He's number 2 on the queue. He's my support rock star. But Owen, who's par for the course at 5, he's currently juggling swords for 7.5 minutes. So within here, I have a couple of options. I could dynamically add agents to the queue. Incredibly easy to do. Where this is nice, doesn't affect your permanent skills-based routings. Now, of
Well,
course, we only have 2 agents in here for demonstration purposes, so we can't dynamically add somebody in. We'll
right.
do
There
that for
has to
the.
be at least another agent available to add to the queue, of
Yes,
course, right?
exactly.
But
But I can take somebody out of the queue if I deemed fit. But where I also like it is that ability to text message. Now, not a traditional SMS, but a one-way communication to the agent's application, their desktop CCA. You could warn of incoming call volumes, or hey, Andrew, please come back from break, or Owen, stop juggling swords. It's a one-way message from the supervisor straight to the desktop or browser application.
All right, I'm going to send them a message. Now, can you see that message popping on my screen? I don't
I
think so.
saw it
I'm not
pop up
sharing.
instantly and it disappeared.
Yeah. So
But
calls
I
are
did
waiting.
see it.
It's a terrifying message from the administrators. One way I can't reply, and of course, it instantly shows up on my CCA. But very powerful, right? Because again, you, the software will help you manage in real time, and predetermined parameters can help you offset a lot of this manual intervention. But there's just going to be days, right, where you're short staffed. There's some sort of crazy outage, or something catastrophic is happening, and you have to manually intervene inside of your
Yep.
inside of
All
your
hands
office.
to the pump. This is how you do it quickly and efficiently.
Very nice. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the monitor from here. So moving agents around, moving skills around seems pretty easy. Now, my question for you, Owen, if I take you out of this skill, or if I bring in 3 or 4 agents, new into this particular skill, are they going to stick in there forever? Like, I mean, am I going to have to remember what I've done?
No, that's the beautiful thing. So, that being the pseudo supervisor console, it allows you to make those changes, both on the fly and temporarily. So if we add an agent to the queue from this little GUI, that's only a temporary change. And so when the agent logs out of their, session for the day and log back in the next time they have their shift, they'll go back to their regular routing rules based on the skills-based routing concepts we've applied the configuration menu, which we've spoken about previously.
Genius. All right. I like that. It's a good feature, by the way. Who could ever remember that? Can you imagine moving people around like crazy during the day and then
I
having to
know.
figure out what you did and remember
Right.
to
Oh,
do it
so
all?
which queue was Jimmy in yesterday, right? I think he did
Oh,
this. Well, let's hope for the best, right? So you can set it and forget it conceptually at a skills-based routing level. Of course, they can be changed as we're spoken about in the other configuration demonstrations.
yes.
However, doing it temporarily, dynamically, allows you to maintain service level and a good customer experience in your call center.
That's what we're all about, right? Okay, so I've minimized everything else. We're down to just the agent section. This is a pretty important piece, obviously, of the monitor page, and it's where you actually live monitor. So I'm just going to take the folks through this here. Obviously, these buttons on the top allow you to do some things with your agent. So for example, and I'm going to do this, you can log your agent out of the queue. Now, normally you wouldn't want to do this unless there was some sort of emergency. Maybe this agent just left for the day and forgot to log out before they closed their PC. So it's
User
a nice,
error, absolutely.
and you don't want to have leave agents logged in, even though they're not going to be taking calls. It's just cumbersome. So logging agents out, obviously, but also logging agents in. So occasionally you'll in an emergency, and I'm going to hit refresh on this because sometimes the refresh rate's a little bit slow. And obviously now that I've refreshed, you can see that I'm no longer in the queue. My session has expired. Awesome. So other than logging agents out, you can log agents in. You can certainly send them that one-way message from the administrator that we looked at
And
before.
broadcast to the entire team, of course, as well. Hey
Oh,
guys,
which is,
pizza in the break room, right? If you're in
yeah.
my call center.
Is that what, peaches or
That's
pizza?
pizza or peaches, right?
Peaches in the
If we're
break
down in
room is
Florida.
nice too. Yeah. But the other thing I like about this, and I'm going to test it out on you, Owen, if you're okay with it, but is I can also take an agent who's clearly not working and juggling swords and make them available.
Yeah,
If I do that, you're going to get a callback. Are you ready?
absolutely, man. Go
And,
ahead. It's
and I get,
a great feature for
yeah.
those events where as a manager that perhaps someone's doing administrative work and you're aware because of that custom classification you've determined that I can actually take this guy out of the back into the queue. You know,
Or I might send you a message first and say, hey,
well,
go back available, or I'm about to. But yeah, good. It's a nice.
I'd like to think you'd give me a heads up before you start slamming calls.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
technically, since we're on the same call, I've given you that heads up. So let me change you to available, and let's see. I mean, again, everything within a reason, but we should be able to see.
Oh, and
Your.
right
Wow,
away,
that was
here it
fast, eh?
comes. I was instantaneous. The minute you pressed yes, and frankly, I'm shocked how fast it was. And
And
here
I
comes
mean,
that
obviously,
call.
it hasn't refreshed yet on my side. So with the 30-second refresh rate, all of that data. Actually, let me just manually do it again. Sometimes in demos it's easier. There you go. So I've got you 20 seconds ago ringing,
Yeah.
and you are obviously on the call and then sitting on idle. So all of your stats, and this is a really important piece of the software. I mean, we talked about the reports in another section, but all of your agent stats are going to be here for the entire day. And you can include the logged out agents as well. So I can see at the end of my shift or during the shift how many calls Owen has answered or missed or transferred, right, and all those other stats. And if you have multiple agents, all of these columns are sortable. You just click them and they resort for you.
Right.
So pretty
Stat
neat.
ranking, naming and shaming, some powerful things you can do in your call center. Now,
No
where it's
doubt.
really nice, of course, this helps to illustrate, the data available available from historical and schedule reports perspective as well. As we know, this is live hosted with a 30-second refresh rate, but all of this from an agent activity perspective, you better believe you can schedule these reports.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and we covered the schedule reports in another section, but definitely one of my faves in terms of keeping everybody honest. So I'm going to, I'm not sure what's going on with my refresh rate, or maybe my patience is worn out, but oh, you're still in wrap up. No doubt. Makes sense.
I am, of course. I'm a terrible agent. I have not been forced back into available. I'm going to put myself back
No, no,
on.
no. I was gonna say stay in wrap up. Let's see how long it takes your threshold alert to pop in. So I think that's pretty much it at a high level from the monitor page. But you know, obviously, you know, for those of you that are running multiple teams, maybe multiple locations, one of the things that we often see, you know, folks do, and we mentioned obviously the filtering and whatnot, but you know, for perhaps a particular team leader or a particular leader in a particular location or office, maybe they only want to see their own team or their own particular, you know, skill set or their own particular IVRs or queues that they're responsible for, so that they don't want to see this entire thing. So I can just put in.
That's exactly it. You know, you have the ability to, you know, that level of granularity it displays there. I just want to see the sales queue. I'm the sales manager. I just want to see the customer support team. I just want to see, you know, XYZ intake number. It
Interesting. Look
really
at
is
that.
fantastic, the level of granularity you can have.
Yeah,
Now,
it
of
took
course,
everything out. It's
well,
pretty
one
neat.
little caveat I always find to the monitor page is that, oh, you know, I have more queues, I have more IVRs. A queue will only display, particularly an IVR, and in terms of the daily IVR and queue statistics, once traffic has hit that queue. So
Yes, no
we're not going to
traffic, no
display all of
sales.
your IVRs and all of your queues if no traffic is hitting them because, well, it's redundant.
Yeah, it is.
Now, one thing I
And
don't think we spoke about too much detail was the live monitoring piece for current agents, Andrew.
oh, I've been saving that. I really have. I thought, you know,
Almost best
best
for
for
last.
last.
I mean,
Almost best.
it's all the best, right?
So, and I mean, I love live monitoring because when I used to use this product, you could do it from home. You could do it from anywhere. You
Right.
don't have to necessarily, yeah, right. You don't have to be on your phone at the office to necessarily live monitoring. It's pretty
Even with
tricky
the
though.
entire supervisor console, you know, this is a browser URL. Log in wherever
Absolutely.
you please. It's mobile friendly. There's not an app, but it's mobile friendly.
Right. So if I'm at home on a Saturday and there's nothing but terrible curling and bad sports on, I can tune into the monitor page and then just randomly listen to live calls. That's pretty much what it is, eh? So are you on a call right now? I guess not, eh?
No, however, I could take a call. I'm sure there's one in
Is
the
there a calling
queue.
queue? Is there?
Yep, it's
Oh yeah,
calling
that's
back.
me. That's me. I'm still in queue. Hang on. Let me just put myself in
I'm
queue.
taking a call back right now.
All right.
So I'm going to go
So
ahead and make that outbound leg right now. The system automatically queued up the inbound to the agent. Now about to dial out to the customer.
excellent. So you're getting the call back, and when you're on that call, let me know when it's on. I'll just hit
Call is
refresh
now
here.
live.
Excellent. It's ringing one more
A
time.
lot
There
of
you go.
muting.
All right, so you're on the call back. So I would click your name now that you're on the call. I would click live monitoring, and I love this because I just key in the number where I'm sitting. So this is my cell phone, and when I hit OK, my phone's going to ring, and I'm going to pick up and silently be listening to you and that customer having a conversation, which is pretty terrifying and amazing at the same time.
Big brother's watching.
Now I know, and you know, obviously, what if I put in a wrong number here, right? What if I put in 8138 instead of 8139, right? My finger's a little bit numb this morning. It's possible.
Well, it's possible.
People have done it, right? It's a terrible thing. So
Now we've fail-safed against that, so we can have a list of predetermined and pre-authorized extensions from a
right,
drop-down
a drop down.
Certain folks can listen into these calls, so we
That's
try to
critical.
make it foolproof. And well, because we don't want your calls going out to the stratosphere.
Absolutely. So, you know, drop down menu of authorized numbers so that, you know, somebody can't put in a wrong number. So when I hit OK, and I'm not going to do it because you're on mute anyway, I'm going to be silently listening to both you and your caller. Obviously, there's no real caller because it's just a pretend call. But this piece I really love. And I know you and I were playing with this last week. If I hit coaching enabled, I get a start code and I'm able to, first of all, whisper in the agent's ear. And when you and I tested it, it's actually not a whisper. It doesn't sound like this.
No,
it's
just a little bit too clear. I can hear you perfectly in my left ear, and in my right ear hear the customer.
It was really disturbing. But anyway, so coaching enable level 1, you can whisper in the agent's ear or speak to them in a gentle tone is probably more appropriate. Step 2, barge in, interrupt the call completely. And then step 3, take it over, remove the agent, send them packing. So if I'm home on my cell phone, I can still do this.
Right, you can still be quality management and quality assuring wherever you are. I mean, hey, if you want to be on a beach in the Bahamas and do some quality monitoring, more power to you.
I think it's good. It's a good feature. Okay, what else have we missed on the dashboard? I think we've covered it all on the monitor page.
that's golden, I think, man.
All right. Thanks so much, Andrew and Owen. We hope you've enjoyed this day in the life episode, and that's kind of helped you calibrate your headspace to monitoring in real time. Stay tuned for more videos from us. We'll be covering quality and compliance, reporting and analytics, and much more. From everyone at Team Telax, thanks for watching.